Nottingham Trent University, working with you. Proud sponsors of Working Week.
On Working Week this week.
Yeah, we begin with the news that I've forgotten to bring the script with me, so I can't remember what's on the programme this week. However, it's just emailing through to me now.
You see.
Yeah, it is actually, and no glasses either. But our first item is about a Nottingham incubation centre for growing businesses that's created, Des, 500 jobs in the city.
The staff here are all from a commercial background, and therefore we bring a degree of realism to young people's ideas and aspirations.
And we find out how businesses are paying to make Nottingham look attractive.
The idea of the project really was to make Nottingham a more vibrant and exciting place to hang out.
And we'll be hearing from the top man at the Nottingham Building Society on their plans for the future.
When I arrived, I think we were the 12th biggest building society, so we've moved up to 9th, and we're closing in strongly on 8th, so hopefully we can continue to build on the good work we've done so far.
Hello.
Okay, do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Hello, I'm Rob Pitton.
And I'm Des Coleman. And first, if you've got a business idea, we might know where you can go to get it started.
Yeah, it's just around the corner from here. It's a place called The Hive, set up by Nottingham Trent University, but it's open to anyone with a good business idea here in the city. There's a new generation of entrepreneurs emerging at The Hive. These young people are developing businesses that can soon fly on their own, creating jobs and skills to benefit the whole of Nottingham's economy.
Young people come either simply because they have an aspiration to start a business or with a firm business idea, and we help them through all the stages of creating that business, whether it's by developing a business plan, by attending workshops, learning how the business should function, and effectively developing all the resources they need financially and also personally to make that business a success.
The Hive, based at Nottingham Trent University, has helped to set up 500 new enterprises, many of them based here in the city. Among the latest crop is Miles Waghorn. He's studying business at the university and is spending his year in industry setting up his own company. Silvertech provides high-tech gadgets and support to older people, or senior people as Miles calls them.
I used to work in the technology department of a major UK supermarket, and when I was working there I used to regularly get more senior customers come and visit me for some technology advice and guidance, and I've started realising this is happening quite regularly. People want to be able to know when they buy a product that when they get it home they're going to know how to use it, and if they've got any questions and queries that somebody can answer it for them. So I combine this sort of personal service with the fact we've got an ageing population and that there's a whole range of really good innovative products and services for this demographic, amalgamated these factors, and TechSolve was born.
Another new business is Culture Syndicates, which helps museums, exhibitions and historical sites bring ideas to life.
So we undertake a range of projects with museums here at Culture Syndicates. We do lots of exciting things with museum collections, so we go in and look at what they've got. We've done things like labelling and cleaning a mummified cat for Kettering Museum. We do lots of audience research data collection and surveying their visitors to see what they want and using that information to help them redevelop their sites. Heritage is really broad in what you can do. You can do everything from kids' workshops all the way up to Heritage Lottery Fund grants. So it's a really exciting field to be in.
And it's not just students. The Hive is available to help anyone in the city with a business idea that would benefit from the university's help, whilst giving a boost to Nottingham's economy. And it's already generated around £10 million worth of business for the city.
The Hive has one predominantly unique feature, which is that the staff here are all from a commercial background, and therefore we bring a degree of realism to young people's ideas and aspirations. We're not teaching them academic theory, but the practical application so that their businesses can be realised much more successfully and much more quickly.
And for Miles, the help he's had here has been invaluable. He's looking to take his business nationwide, and the Hive has got him on the way.
I'm going to get there through the networks that the Hive provides me with. It's a really fantastic place to get to work. They've got really good networks out there and they can put you in touch with people to help you grow your business. I also have a mentor and she's dedicated her retirement to helping me grow the business. So I'd like to think that I've got a better chance, or as good as any, to growing it to the likes of PC World and John Lewis.
So if you fancy building the next John Lewis, or if you've got a more modest business plan, get in touch with the Hive.
And I'm sure you'll agree, Nottingham is looking great. It is busy, it is pumping, it is thriving.
It is, isn't it? It's a place with a lot of money knocking around and it doesn't happen by accident. Did you know that businesses in Nottingham have got together to pay for many of the things that we just take for granted? We can all agree Nottingham's a great place to shop or to visit at night, but it doesn't happen by accident. A lot of it's down to the work of a group of the city's business people who formed the Nottingham Business Improvement District, or BID as it's known. But how does it work? Well, Emile Petrie caught up with the BID chairman to find out.
Well, bids are a concept we adopted from across the pond in Canada and the USA. And what happens is a number of businesses in the area decide that there's certain things that they want done which need funding, and it may be promotional activity or it may be something specific in terms of cleansing, and they then decide to set up a bid. You define the area, you define the type of business that you want in the bid, and you define certain thresholds in terms of rateable value, and then you have a vote.
In Nottingham, how many businesses are involved?
In the current bid, about 700, but we've just gone through a renewal process, and we've included now in the Nottingham bid both education and the office sector, and our membership has gone from 700 to 850.
So it sounds like it's really going well.
Oh, it's going extremely well, and I think an indication of how well it's going and how well appreciated it is when we had the vote, 90% of businesses voted in favour of the new bid.
So how does it work for businesses? The Malt Cross in the city centre is a member of BID, paying a small amount based on its rateable value. But what does it get out of it?
It puts on things like Nottingham Fashion Week and the Christmas Fair and lovely beautiful floral displays that you see around the city in summer. It also supports really exciting safety projects like Nottingham Street Pastors and the taxi marshals. And the idea of the project really was to make Nottingham a more vibrant and exciting place to hang out.
And as far as the Malt Cross is concerned, the BID's made big improvements in its 5 years in Nottingham.
It's a really great thing for the city, and it should be something that we really celebrate. One of the great things of the bid has meant that we've won a Purple Flag Award for the city for the last 4 years. A purple flag is a bit like a blue flag for beaches or a green flag for parks, which say you're in a really great place. Nottingham has a purple flag, which means its nighttime economy is safe and fun and diverse, and we should really celebrate things like that. So yes, I truly believe it's a great thing for the city.
Looks like it's been a success so far, so what's next?
In a couple of months, on the 1st of January, we launch Bid 2. And that's the sort of culmination of all the work that's been done during Bid 1 to try and get the support of businesses. So we got complete support for Bid 2, and that means we're going to invest £1 million a year into Nottingham's economy for 5 years. And that's going to be fantastic for the city.
As you know, here on Working Week, we discuss lots of stories. One of my favourite stories is all about archeries, or a gentleman that does archery, and arrows. Do you know who he is, Rob?
Robin Hood, and of course he's the mascot of the Nottingham Building Society, and we've been trying to find out how they've been getting on over the last few years and what their plans are for the future. It may seem strange to be talking about the mortgage and banking business at a football ground with an international archer in attendance, but it emphasises the Nottingham Building Society's links with its city. It sponsors Forest, and it's also sponsoring the National Archery Tournament in honour of its mascot, Robin Hood. In fact, last month, staff at the company's HQ had a go to give them a break from the stresses of the day job.
This is a lot of fun. It's getting everybody out. I think actually there's more competition than you'd imagine across the head office, and importantly, it's doing some good.
But for us, today was a chance to catch up with the man at the top of the Building Society to find out how it's faring and what its plans are for the future. But first, why is it sponsoring an archery tournament?
We think it's important to put back into the community as a building society, and we're proud to support over a number of different sporting organisations.
And talking of sporting events, you actually sponsor Forest as well, don't you? What's that involve?
Yeah, we've been sponsoring Forest through our Young Saver account for the last 10 years, and we've donated over £500,000 over the last 10 years to support the development of the next young stars of the future.
And how important are you economically in Nottingham in terms of, your size and employment? What do you do there?
Well, we've been here over 160 years, and we employ over 450 people who are based in Nottinghamshire, so we're an important local employer. We're expanding, we're opening new branches, and we're expanding our head office as well, so we're recruiting even more people, so we think it's important to put back into the city that we share a name with.
So you're expanding in places like Cambridgeshire and down in Hertfordshire as well. I mean, does the name Nottingham have any resonance there? How does that work?
Well, it is interesting, Harpenden and St Albans we've opened, which is Hertfordshire, but I think it's the quality of the proposition. We've got a really strong proposition. We've got really good people who deliver excellent service, and I think whether the name resonates or not, people soon get past the Nottingham and see us as the 9th biggest building society in the UK that offers a really strong proposition, backed up by great service, and there's a demand for that.
What are the future plans then?
We want to grow and continue to grow, so we do have ambition to be bigger. When I arrived, I think we were the 12th biggest building society, so we've moved up to 9th, and we're closing in strongly on 8th, so hopefully we can continue to build on the good work we've done so far.
Well, that's it for now, but after the break...
Yeah, we'll be finding out how textile jobs are coming back to Nottingham.
And with the trams and the A453, will all the transport improvements in Nottingham boost our economy?
And the Nottingham company that sells reptiles over the internet.
I love this story. That's it.
See you in a short while.
Nottingham Trent University, proud sponsors of Working Week. Nottingham Trent University, proud sponsors of Working Week.
Welcome back. In this half, we'll be finding out how textile jobs are making a return to Nottingham.
And are the new trams and the recently opened A453 going to bring new jobs into the city?
That's easy for you to say. And finally, and we're glad we didn't get to do this story, we're looking at the Nottingham shop that sells reptiles, hundreds of them.
Business is going really good. We now have over 4,000 reptile products.
All that to come, but first we've been reporting on how textile jobs are actually coming back to the city.
Yeah, and I was a little sceptical about this, but let's go back to the Hive because there's a business there that's making a living out of exactly that, and I'm going to use a big word here, phenomenon.
Wow.
Business is booming for Rachael Hobbs. From her unit in the Hive at Nottingham Trent University, she's masterminding a textile production empire which is beginning to stretch around the globe.
It's going really well. We're getting busier and busier, which is nice. What we're doing as well is expanding. So in terms of, again, seeing this resurgence made in the UK products, we're now actually exporting to China and also to other EU and non-EU countries. So it's really great for us now to have those international clients, and hopefully we can just continue to expand from there.
Rachael acts as an advisor to textile manufacturers across the country, helping them to source customers, designers, fabrics and even production methods. But with more and more work coming back to the UK, there's a problem. Once there were tens of thousands of people in Nottingham with textile skills, now they're in short supply.
Unfortunately, obviously, when everything did go abroad, what that meant was a lot of people here were out of their jobs, and suddenly now we're finding, although there is this resurgence, many people have left the industry, so we're finding there's a huge skill gap, which is, it's such a shame. I go into factories, I'm one of the youngest people in there now, and you can see people plus 65 years old still working just because they've got no one to take over from them. And what we really need to see is as many young people coming in now so that they can, learn from the older generation, get them backing, get them skilled, so that we can continue to manufacture here in the UK.
It's a problem we've seen before on Working Week. Woodfield Industries in Sneinton produces the uniforms for Nottingham City Council workers and other councils around the country. But when it needed 2 machinists, it struggled.
We want machinists who have supported needs And that's one of our goals, is to try and get people who don't know about us to come and actually to try us out and give us an opportunity for them to see, because we do full makeup garments here. So that we feel is it's a skill that's coming back to Nottingham, and so we're being told, but for us to try and recruit those machinists is a bit of a problem.
And it's a trend that's been noticed by the people looking to grow our economy and find work in Nottingham, and become a priority for them.
A lot of the things in machining are going into the more skilled side, the higher class stuff. We don't tend to go for the mass market so much now. A lot of the jobs are for doing really complicated good stuff, so we're looking for some quality machinists.
So there's work out there for people?
There's work out there, yeah, if we can find the people.
Rachel's hoping that with the textile industry growing and work coming back to the UK, more people will be attracted into the industry.
I think that's one of the hardest things to try and get across to younger people, is there is a career within manufacturing, and you can make your way up as well. It's an exciting part of the clothing industry. I think there's a lot of universities that really push for designing, and actually your chances of being a top designer, are very minimal. But why not go into manufacturing? Like, you can see the whole progress of the garment all the way through, from the design. You can pick the fabric. You can, watch it being fitted to a model. You can make those changes, and that's what I love so much, is being able to go through that whole process, going to the factory, seeing it being made, knowing the name of the person who made it. Like, what's better than that?
Let's have a look at transport now.
That's beautifully said. Yep. We've been reporting on how Nottingham's getting a lot of attention for the improvements it's been making to its transport system. Now, the City Council says that it's going to improve the economy and cut pollution, and they've got big plans for the future.
I think we have a great energy policy in the city, but I think we're building infrastructure that will make us the green, clean city that we need to be. If you want to reduce pollution, you have to get people out of cars and onto public transport. You have to get people onto bikes, and that happens only where you start to build the infrastructure that will make people do that. You have to make people make positive choices. You have to give them choices, but you have to make it easy and accessible and convenient for them to make the decision to get on a tram.
That's the views of the City Council, that things are improving. We've got our own phenomenon.
He's got his own song now.
And it's Richard Breaker from the Nottingham Post.
Here's his take on how transportation is affecting our city's economy. Well, here is Richard Baker, and Richard, we've been talking about Nottingham winning plaudits for its new transport system and being integrated, but it wasn't entirely its own idea. It's picked up some ideas from elsewhere, hasn't it?
It has. Nottingham, interestingly, has got long-standing links with a German city called Karlsruhe, and if you go over there you'll see that they've got a tram network, and Karlsruhe was one of the inspirations for what we've seen here. The interesting thing about Karlsruhe is that it doesn't stop at the end of the tram network. They click a switch, you hear some hydraulic noises, and off it goes to the regional rail network.
How does it feel in Karlsruhe then, when you're sort of using all that integrated transport system? What's it like when you're there?
Well, it makes a massive difference. In Karlsruhe, they've almost become a victim of their own success, to the point where they're now having to dig tunnels for the trams to go underground, because so many people are now using them. But the good thing for them is that the fact that it can access the rail network means it's become a regional transport system, so it's much easier for people to get in and out of Karlsruhe without perhaps having to live in the city.
Do you think we'll see the same thing then? Do you think we'll see economic benefits from, integrating our transport the way we have?
Well, this is one of the interesting things for Nottingham, that obviously there's been a bit of a skills challenge here, because there have been concerns that the schools don't turn out people who've got the right kind of skills for local businesses. So a lot of people who go to work in the city every day probably commute. If there's any kind of system which makes it easier for people to come in, that's not got to be a bad thing, has it? And it also means that people who do live in the city can access jobs elsewhere.
And does that give us a kind of positioning nationally? Does it improve our standing?
Absolutely. The big question in the future is whether or not we could take this tram network out to places like Derby, whether or not we could take it to the new high-speed train if it ever turns up, whether we could take it out to the airport. If we can have that kind of integrated, seamless network, those are the things that make it so much easier for businesses to decide, look, this is an easy place to work, why don't we set up here?
And do you think we're going to get cities in the UK coming to look at what we're doing here in Nottingham?
I've got absolutely no doubt that you're going to see a queue of other cities coming into Nottingham to find out how this system works, how it hooks up with buses, how it hooks up with trains, how it makes it easier for people to move around, because that's going to be the key to the success of economies in the future. How easy is it for large numbers of people to get to and from work, to public facilities, to the places they need to go and shop.
Next up is a piece that I've really been looking forward to. It's one of my favourite pieces.
Yeah, this is a company I actually stumbled across on the way into
stumbled,
work.
because
now that's all in the past, you know, that's unfair to bring that up. But this is a company in Nottingham that actually sells reptiles all over the country. Something stirring in a quiet corner of Nottingham. On Clark Road near the cattle market, there's a sight you might not expect to see. Exotic reptiles, thousands of them. It's the home of a fast-growing Nottingham business, Internet Reptile, which, as the name implies, sells reptiles over the internet. And as our reporter Emil Petrie discovered, they come from far and wide.
Okay, this is Patch the chameleon from Madagascar, and he has been kept here in Nottingham because he was mistreated by his owners, and he's here at the Internet Reptile Centre to recover. Steve, can you tell us a bit about Patch?
Yeah, sure. One morning we got to work and Patch was there. He was just literally dropped off. There was no note or anything. And as soon as we got in, we realised that his eye was actually damaged. On his left eye, he can't turn it round anymore.
Yeah.
His other eye's actually working quite well. We took him in, got him settled down, fed him a few times, and we have been treating his eye with some drops as well. Just to get him back up to his full strength, because he was quite weak. He's one of the most lovely coloured panther chameleons we've ever seen, and he is really tame. These animals, they tend to go to people that perhaps don't always know how best to treat them, and they do need a lot of care.
The business was set up by a pet lover with an allergy to fur. Since he couldn't have a cat or a dog, he decided to keep reptiles, and it's grown from there, with Nottingham proving an ideal location.
We can cover a large area from the Midlands. We do have a good delivery service for all our products. We now have over 4,000 reptile products. We also wholesale directly to the shops of the East Midlands. With the wholesaling, we are the only wholesaler in the country that can provide every single reptile product and line. And the business has been going here for about 3 years now. It's doing very well. We build year on year, and we now have 8 members of staff.
Can you tell us about what kind of turnover you have?
The turnover has increased again year on year. I think the predicted forecast is about 1.4 million this year. So with that kind of growth, we do expect to employ more people. We do have people here that have been on apprenticeship courses, and they've done very well, been successful, and now they're here as full-time members of staff.
Where do you think this business is going? How are you developing?
We are looking at, apart from doing reptile, we're now looking at pet. We're going to be launching a website called Internet Pet Shop very shortly. That's going to have over 20,000 lines, and it should be looking at competing with the big people out there, such as Pets at Home.
Do you go out to schools and centres and educate people?
Yeah, absolutely. We run a programme where we will go out to local primary schools. We show the children there how you should best care for a reptile and the equipment that you'd need and use, and then obviously we explain that you can get it directly here in Nottingham.
And so if you're looking for a snake or a tarantula in Nottingham, or even perhaps a scorpion, now you know where to come.
Oh, he looked a bit awkward, didn't he?
No, I don't think you like that chameleon very much. It actually apparently took a bite out of his jacket as well.
That's Karma chameleon.
Karma chameleon, very good. On that note, we'll say goodbye and we'll see you in the next show.
Take care.
Nottingham Trent University, working with you. Proud sponsors of Working Week.